Novozymes Biofuel by Lauren Monroe and Alexandra McNamara.
Click on this link to see an overview of what the company Novozymes does.
Such as corn cobs and straw, and municipal solid waste or fuel from trash.
Biofuels have many obvious advantages. For instance, it reduces our reliance on oil, and it's actually cheaper to produce ethanol than fossil gasoline, so it reduces the price at the pump.
The U.S. is the world's largest biofuels market today, and many of the existing and new advanced biofuels plants will be located in the Midwest. Novozymes' investment in the facility in Nebraska has created 400 jobs during construction and approximately 100 full-time career employees.
It creates job and new business in the local communities that we work in, so we're very excited to continue to be part of this development driving the American biofuel industry further.
Already today, the 10% blend of biofuel in U.S. gasoline reduces gas prices for consumers about $1 per gallon. Furthermore, a recent report from Bloomberg New Energy Finance estimates that advanced biofuels could displace up to 16% of U.S. gasoline consumption in 2030, while creating 1.4 million jobs.
We are just in front of the next breakthrough, namely cellulosic ethanol. Within the next year, we'll see the first commercial-scale cellulosic ethanol plants producing in the U.S., so that's going to be a very exciting development.
The following is some vocabulary that you will need to help understand biofuels. Enzymes are catalysts which speed up a chemical reaction. Hydrocarbons are coal, oil, natural gas, and more that were once plants and are used for fuel today. Another word for hydrocarbons is fossil fuels. Alcohols are ethanol and methanol, which are the counterpart in making up fuel with hydrocarbons. Octane level. The higher the octane level in a gas, the more compression can occur before a knocking sound is made. A knocking sound can damage the engine.
Here are some formulas you may need to know. Photosynthesis is sunlight plus 6 CO2 plus 6 H2O, which produces C6H12O6 plus 6 O2. Starch is C6H10O5. Glucose is C6H12O4, and yeast fermentation is C6H12O6, which produces 2 CO2 plus 2 alcohol molecules.
One part of fuel molecules is hydrocarbons. Through the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, plants use photosynthesis to grow. These plants became fossil fuels. Some examples of fossil fuels are coal, oil, and natural gas. This diagram shows the process of plants breaking down into fossil fuels over time. Fossil fuels are also known as hydrocarbons.
Alcohols are the counterparts of a fuel molecule. The two main alcohols used are ethanol and methanol. Novozymes uses ethanol. Cornstarch uses an enzyme to convert starch to sugar. Novozymes feeds this sugar to a yeast which then converts the sugar to ethanol.
Ethanol. Ethanol is a form of alcohol. Ethanol combines with hydrocarbons to make the biofuel. The higher the ethanol concentration in the fuel, the higher the octane level. The higher the octane level, the more miles per gallon you can get, but our engines are not fit for a higher octane level. To get better mileage, we need better engines. This will help our environment by reducing the amount of fossil fuels used and emitted.
Fun facts about ethanol. When you fill up your car, you have 10% ethanol in your gas. Novozymes' goal is for gas to have 15% to 25% ethanol concentration in their fuel, but this requires special engines which is not readily available. Only some expensive cars have this engine. NASCAR uses 20% ethanol.
Enzymes. Novozymes makes enzymes by using their own special organisms, such as fungi and bacteria. They keep these organisms in 3-story tanks at a specific temperature. Then they feed these organisms starch, vitamins, and oxygen. After this, they spit out a liquid, which they use to convert their food. This liquid contains enzymes, which are extracted. These enzymes are used to produce the ethanol.
This all relates to chemistry because biofuels uses an exothermic reaction to make the car run, release its energy. Thermochemistry is the unit that comes from. Also, Novozymes uses catalysts and enzymes, which are a type of catalyst, to lower the activation energy to produce products more quickly. That also comes from the unit of thermochemistry.
In this video, we are going to perform an experiment by using cornstarch to make sugar, which will be produced in the form of caramel. This models how cornstarch, when given an enzyme, gets turned to sugar, which then in turn feeds the yeast. In this video, we are going to perform an experiment by using cornstarch to make sugar, which will be produced in the form of caramel. This models how cornstarch, when given an enzyme like amylase, gets turned to sugar, which then in turn feeds the yeast. This is our cornstarch, and this is our water. This is about 30% cornstarch, and the rest of the 70% is water.
I've added our water and amylase, and now it is starting to bubble. Now I'm going to add the cornstarch and water concentration. And begin stirring it for the next 2 hours.
It's changing forms from a liquid to a solid. Because of the enzyme amylase, we have sped up the chemical reaction that causes cornstarch to be turned into sugar, and in this case, caramel.